Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge. Welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. And I'm down in the sanctuary. We just had a big power outage. Thanks, BWL, for warning us about that and knocking us offline for a second. And we're representing Release Fitness, who's a one and all graduate, doing really good things in the fitness area, and especially in the kids and women and LGBTQ plus community, getting people introduced to kickboxing and different martial arts and all of that. So pretty cool company, Release Fitness. And then one more shout out to thisent.com. Check them out. There's a lot of good write-ups about things that are happening in our community that are super positive, and a lot of respect for the champ, Mr. Joe Walker there. So today on my show, I don't even know what to call you, Christopher Kaminski, a really good friend, a great friend. We've known each other for a long time, but COVID kind of put us out of touch for a minute, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So what you been doing today?
Well, my name's Chris Kaminski, and I am a composer mainly. I'm also a AV technician. I work at the People's Church, East Lansing, doing their live streams and sound, and also rebuilding their website now, which is fun. And I graduated from Michigan State.
Well, hold on a second. Let me start over a little bit.
Great.
I was just going to BS about what you had for lunch and your gaming chair and all that. But
that's right. Yeah, I forgot.
Did you have a quesadilla for lunch?
No, I actually don't eat quesadillas that often. But I will be in the next month. So
yeah,
but more on that in a bit.
Yeah. So let's actually jump into you. But where were you born and raised, if you don't mind?
Sure. I was born in Edison, New Jersey, and I lived there until 2017, until I moved out to Michigan for grad school. But I'll back up. Born and raised in New Jersey. There's a lot of people in New Jersey. There's so many people. And for all you New Jersey folks who are in the know, I am from Central New Jersey, which is a point of contention in New Jersey, because people from the very north and the very south don't believe that Central New Jersey exists, and it's totally separate from the rest of the state. But it does exist, and me saying that exists is a debate for New Jersey people.
I'm not from New Jersey, but I've got two comments on that. One is I had a woman on the show a couple months ago, maybe a month ago, and she just wanted to say East Coast. She didn't want to admit that she was from Central New Jersey, by the way. And then the other thing is I used to work with the American Red Cross in the 90s, and all the chapters in New Jersey were kind of in alliance with each other, but they did that exact same thing. Like the North and South hated each other, and the middle didn't even exist.
Yeah.
Is that kind of how it is?
Pretty much. I've heard someone say that New Jersey is like a microcosm of the entire country. So you have the southern New Jersey kind of feels like the South a little bit. And you have the central New Jersey, which is a nice big metropolis, or like a very large suburban area between like Philadelphia and New York City. And then the north kind of blends into Pennsylvania a little bit. It's a lot. You got a lot of different kinds of people in New Jersey. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. So most people just know like Atlantic City and some bridge that Chris Christie shut down for some reason.
Yeah, and probably a Newark Airport too to get into New York City.
Oh yeah,
which is that's one of the worst airports I've ever been to in my life. Every airport has been better.
So you hinted to it that you came to MSU for grad school, and that was for music, right?
Yeah.
Why MSU? Is MSU a great music school?
Yes, that and for undergrad, I went to Rutgers in New Jersey. I did Mason Gross School of the Arts, and I originally went in for music education. I wanted to be like a high school band teacher with my original career path. And throughout my life, I've always been composing, but I haven't been writing it down. And then I was in a chamber group I think my sophomore year of undergrad, and I was like, "Hey, we're in a group together. Can I write you guys a piece?" They're like, "Sure, why not? We'll play it for fun." And then I wrote it, and then we played it, and then we really liked it. So then we played it in front of the entire woodwind studio at Rutgers, and then everyone really liked it. So they were like, "Hey, Chris, your piece is going to be played in front of the entire undergraduate music body, representing the woodwind studio as a whole." I'm like, "Okay." So then we played it for the whole music students, and the whole music body, and then the conductor at the school, Professor Bott, said, "Chris, you're going to be a composer." And I go, "Okay." And he got me into the composition program, and then I really went into composing. So I was looking for schools with good composition programs. And one thing that was really important to me when looking for programs was like a diverse faculty, because it's really easy for music to just be old white guys. And I did not want a faculty of only old white guys. And I saw that the Michigan State faculty was very diverse. And I was like, "Oh, that's great. I don't know anybody here, but I don't know anybody." I ended up knowing one person from Michigan after the fact, but I was like, "Yeah, sure. I want to get out of the state. I've lived in New Jersey my whole life. Rutgers was 10 minutes from my house." So like it was time to leave. And I I remember when I was visiting other grad schools, I visited University of Southern California first. It was my first interview. And the first time I saw palm trees in real life, I thought they were the dumbest looking trees of all time. And in my head, I'm like, they're not trees, they're bushes with erections. Like they're not trees. And I made a post about it because the trees are ridiculous. And then people got really defensive about palm trees. And I'm like, why? Okay. So then I made a post about the trees in every state that I visited for grad school. And when I got to Michigan, I was like, oh, this feels nice. Like I made and once I decided on the school, I was like, Michigan, the trees feel like home. And then since I came here. So
MSU does have a beautiful campus.
Yeah, it's really pretty. Really pretty.
So what do you study? Like, what's it like to be in grad school as a composer? Like, what are you doing all day long?
So I was really fortunate, and I got a music theory graduate assistantship. So I didn't go there initially to study music theory, but composers generally tend to know a lot about theory because it provides a lot of foundational work for like talking about music and thinking more like techniques about music and lots of other things. And theory always came really easy to me, so I was super excited to be able to help teach freshman theory and freshman oral skills when I came in. So my first year I took a film scoring class. We learned how to how to score for film. Like here's a 30-second commercial. What music would you put underneath it? So that was pretty cool. A lot of theory classes. And we had a few composition seminars, which changed every semester. One of them was on how to collaborate with performers, and make it not like you are a performer and I am the composer and we are totally separate, and I sit in my room and think about life and generate this masterpiece while you play the work. Like that's totally separate. Like, how do you make the collaborative process actually integrated with the composition?
Yeah.
So, which was really interesting.
So you always see like a cliche between writers of a movie and the actors, and they're arguing about, say my lines the way I wrote them or whatever. I wouldn't imagine that you're like that, but is something like that happens?
Yeah, it definitely happens. Some people throughout music history have thought of performers as just vehicles for their own work. And other people, treat performers like people, and not hands and mouths to play instruments with.
I would think that you would want good, strong, motivated performers to really play your piece the way it should be played.
Yeah. Like I don't write music for two clarinets. Like I write it for, Zach and, I wrote a clarinet duet, and I forget you guys' name. Zach and John. Like I wrote it for them. I didn't write. I write music that they can do and they can do well, not for instruments. So that's at least my philosophy now.
So the other thing is, have you ever thought about starting a business to help people out with their TikToks? Because I cannot pick the right music for any of my videos.
That I'm not on TikTok, so I don't really know. But
don't do it, man. You'll be watching silly videos for hours.
Yeah, my two younger sisters are very into it, and it's really interesting, but I just haven't gotten into it.
So I think you and I first met at the oh my goodness, I can't remember it's the pitch competition the music school has.
Yeah, the MSU Running Start competition.
And now I'm forgetting. Is it Jennifer?
Christine Beamer.
Thank you. I'm forgetting names too. It was a long time. Do they still do? Well, first of all, would you tell us about that?
Sure.
Or tell everyone out there?
Sure. So the Running Start program competition is basically if you have any idea as a music student for any project you can think of, and want to get funding for it, you can apply for a grant through the Running Start program, which is like a program the music school started to help you out after you leave school. It's like, what are you actually going to do with your life? How do you start a private studio? How do you build a musician's website? How do you network that's actually genuine? And like all these actual skills that may not be taught in a class, but that you would learn on the job, but you need it before you start the job sometimes, most of the time. So I don't know when they started the pitch competition, but so people apply, and if you get chosen, there's I think 8 projects. I think they had that they do a 5-minute pitch in front of a live audience and in front of panelists, and to determine how much money you get. And there's also a People's Choice Award where people can vote on what their favorite project is, and they get a little bit of extra money. So the project that I was thinking of, which I don't think we've officially announced yet, so I'll hold off on the.
Well, let's we'll hold off on that for a second. I loved coming to that and being a panelist there, because I think it was, every musician that I've ever met is an entrepreneur at some level, right? They're trying to get gigs, they're trying to record, they're trying to sell on Spotify, they're trying to, teach classes, all kinds of different things. And I always thought it was great that the music school out there was kind of ahead of some of the other schools. I mean, software engineers don't, unless they get involved with the Hatch, don't really have that opportunity to see the entrepreneurial side of it. You're going to go work for Microsoft or something, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I love that program. And I've got a question from the crowd that relates to that a little bit. I'm wondering if he ever composes custom music for people. For instance, if I had a theme for a song, would he be willing to write the lyrics and music for a fee?
I definitely do take commissions. It's definitely something I do. I I haven't taken a lot of commissions recently because I've been working on two really big projects at the same time. Because I can't. I'm the kind of person who can't just work on one thing at once.
Yeah.
I need multiple projects to work on. But yeah.
How about I'll get you and Erica connected.
Sure. That'd be great.
If you're not the right person, maybe you got a friend that's the right person.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And I'll make sure that she's serious about that too, which I'm sure she is.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
So two projects. When I was on the panel for the last one I was at, I don't know if they kept doing it over COVID or not, the Running Start program, you came up with the idea for what you titled this show, right? I want you to say it because I can pronounce it finally after 3 days of practice.
So I'm writing a heavy metal opera about a cult that worships quesadillas called the Church of Quesadeity. When I did the Running Start program, I wanted to make a trailer for it because I knew I wanted to do a Kickstarter to make an album of this heavy metal opera about a cult that worships quesadillas that I'm writing, and I got selected and I got to pitch that in front of a crowd, which was really fun. And got some money to help make a trailer, which was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
So a couple of things there. Number one, heavy metal. I don't think people think you have to go to music school to play heavy metal, right? I mean, I'm not being mean because I mean, you are a musician through and through. I've seen what you've done. We're going to see some of it in a little bit. But heavy metal is a music theory too, right? It has all the components that you need to be, I don't know, I guess I wonder if people think that about hip hop and think that about jazz and think it's really something you learn on the streets. You can't learn it at school, but you do, right?
Yeah. Actually, the theory program at MSU, I was crazy and I did 2 masters at the same time because I did music composition and I did music theory because the music theory faculty were amazing. So when I was doing the music theory degree, we actually we had a class on like what are people doing in music theory right now, or like within the last 20 years or something. And one of them was like the first like really big like metal like analysis paper. John Peaslack, I think his name was off the top of my head, did an analysis on Meshuggah and the rhythmic like the rhythmic patterns of Meshuggah. And it's like, yeah, like this music can be, studied, but just because it's not studied doesn't mean it's worthy of being studied. That whole like academic worth, I hate it. Everything has the right to be studied and analyzed legitimately, and everything has artistic worth.
See, then I was going to flip the question from the academic side to people like, what is heavy metal doing in our music school? I don't know what my vision of these guys in their ivory tower are, but you said it's a bunch of older white guys in some other schools, right?
Yeah, some places definitely.
And I wouldn't know, how's it been received, I guess? Is it received seriously? Is it received as a work that, Tommy is an amazing production, right? The Queen and their my wife's gonna kill me right now because I'm not but like Rhapsody help me out.
the Queen movie, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not the movie, but that whole
the
song and that whole album
Yeah,
is
I forget.
basically an opera, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And these are amazing pieces that are going to live for a long, long time,
Yeah.
right? So, are you getting a warm reception in your circles for this?
Yes, I am. I the elevator pitch of the heavy metal opera about a cult that worships quesadillas. I actually came up with first. So I kind of always had that little pitch, and I love telling people that for the first time, and then seeing their reaction. It's like, what? Oh, that's cool. Tell me more. It's and a heavy metal opera, is not a new thing. It's been done before. There was, I always forget the composer's name, but Queen Boudica is a heavy metal opera that combines Celtic traditional instruments with strings, vocals, and a metal band with screamers and a compelling story. And I think that one is advertised as the first metal opera, which is pretty rad. What's the difference between an opera and a concept album? I mean, staging.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely one difference. But yes. But in terms of academic, receiving metal and other genres of music, it's becoming more accepted. Classical music has the tendency to be very, holier than thou. Like you might hear people say, "Oh, that's not real music."
Exactly.
I goddamn hate that. Because of course it's real music. You're listening to it. It's not imaginary. It's in front of you. I mean, it sounds so it's not in front of you, but you know what I mean. It's there. There's of course there's worth in any music, and maybe it's because classical musicians feel the need to justify their own art form. It's like if you're teaching piano to someone growing up, you have them try to play the classics like Beethoven, Brahms, Mozart, Bach, all these big classical composers, and it's like, well, music has existed since then, and it's going to exist further, so yeah. And there's a lot of things I could say about classical music culture around the big composers that are all dead, which I'll share a funny story. So I was taking lessons with a student at one of my schools that I've been to, and I wanted to do something new. I wanted to do something written in the last, I don't know, 30, 40 years, which is new in music land. But then we were talking about what things I've already played in my previous lessons. I'm a clarinet player, by the way. I forgot to mention that. So I was taking clarinet lessons, and I haven't played the Brahms sonatas. He has two really, really big, basically standard repertoire for the clarinet sonatas, and I haven't played them. And I've tried to play them before, and I couldn't connect to the music at all. It didn't speak to me. It was a little long-winded. I always say it's 5 minutes too long. And I've heard it so many times at master classes, which is a public lesson. And people always play Brahms sonatas. And I just got sick of it. I can't play it. And my teacher, and when I said, when she asked, have you played Brahms? I said, I don't really like Brahms. And she was like, what? I was like, I don't like Brahms. I can't connect to it. She's like, well, you have to play it. It's like, oh, okay, sure, I guess. Yeah. And then she gave me some other like new piece to make me happy in the meantime. So we played, Brahms, which is like, before 1900. I don't know. I'm really bad at music history. And we played a more modern piece. And she was like, in our lessons, she was like, you have to be more expressive. I'm like, how can I be expressive for something that I can't connect to?
Yeah.
And like, I told you this ahead of time. Like, why are you making me play this? And it was just really eye-opening to me that no one has ever criticized like these, the pantheon of classical composers to this person before. And it's like, no, everyone deserves to be criticized for their music, not in a bad way, just in a constructive way.
Right.
Like, I like other Brahms' music. I don't like the Brahms sonatas. The funny thing is they have the same music for viola and piano instead of clarinet and piano, and I like the viola version much better. Even though it's the same exact piece, just for viola. But I can't. It was just really eye-opening to see, people not being able to criticize, like classical composers. It's like, what are they going to do? They're dead.
So I'm going to put this. We put the link for the YouTube channel. Thank you, Shannon, to your Kickstarter trailer.
Oh, thank you.
And we're going to play a little bit at the end here, I think, too. Let's get off from, or wait, how much money do you have to raise on the Kickstarter? And have you kicked off the campaign yet?
It's starting tomorrow at 10 a.m., so July 13th at 10 a.m. And I'm looking to raise $4,000 to record an album for the entire opera. Okay.
4K?
Yep.
Seems reasonable.
I hope so. Yeah.
That's a good price for recording the album, right?
Yeah, I think so. I hope so.
So you said you had two projects. What's the second one?
The second one, I'm doing the soundtrack for a new video game that is releasing on Steam in the next few months for early access, which is called Rank Warmaster, which is a 4X a space combat RTS game with 4X to kind of glue it all together. If you ever played any like top-down strategy games like Command and Conquer or like Age of Empires, I don't know if I'm not really down, but it's very you can do a top-down thing and like command your ships to go attack things, or you can go, wait, the AI is not doing a good job attacking their city. I'm gonna hop into a ship and fly it myself, and do it that way. And you can spend the entire game in a top-down version. You can spend the entire game just in a ship, piloting your own ship, commanding your own squad from a ship. I've been doing the soundtrack for that.
Nice.
And it's been fun. Oh, sorry.
Well, go ahead, and then I'll ask you some questions.
It's been I've been making like EDM music for that game.
Nice.
And it's been super fun just to I've always wanted to make EDM music. I feel like EDM music is like ATM machine. I think.
Is there a particular subgenre of EDM that you're using, like dubstep or something?
I think I originally wanted to do dubstep, but that's very in your face and aggressive. And I wanted something a little more chill because the point of it is to support the game that you're playing and not to be, overstimulated by the music.
Yeah.
But it's something I've learned over time. But I'm really bad with like genres and naming genres, but a little bit more chill.
Yeah. Okay. And is that a local company or an MSU affiliated company, or how'd you get a gig like that?
my friend's back in New Jersey. He was working on the game since 1997, I think.
Wow.
He started working on the game, and then worked on it for a while, and then he had like major life changes and didn't work on the game for about 10 years. Then he decided, I don't like my current job. I'm going to quit my job, going to work on my game and make that my full-time gig because he believed in the game. And he was like, hey, Chris, you're a composer. Do you want to do the soundtrack? And I said, absolutely.
Nice.
So I've been doing that since 2 or 3 years, 3 or 4 years. Yeah, it's been a while.
So if that game blows up, there's some royalties in your future, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
Nice. So what's your mission? What do you kind of push forward every day? And what do you do every damn day for that mission?
I think my mission now is kind of integrated with the Church of Quesadeity itself, which is asking yourself, what do you believe, but you don't question? Something I think about a lot. Now, to understand my point, I think I need to talk a little bit more about the actual Church of Quesadeity and what it is and stuff. Yes, the heavy metal opera about a cult that quesadillas, but that is the setup to the story of the opera. So it follows two characters, Dante and Father. And Dante is a 20-year-old kid who's grown up in the Church of Quesadeity. And Father is his father and also the leader of the entire cult. But cults don't call themselves cults, so they call themselves the Church of Quesadeity. So it's only a cult from the outside. And Father announces that he is going to step down as leader and nominate Dante to become the next leader of the Church of Quesadeity. But in order to do that, Dante has to go through the 3 tests of leadership: the test of worth, the test of knowledge, and the test of temptation. The test of worth is he has to summon the Quesadeity and be deemed worthy to even consider being the next leader. The test of knowledge is he has to, in real time, say all of the rites and rituals and practices and beliefs of the Church of Quesadeity, and also gives me a chance to tell the audience what the Church of Quesadeity believes. It's kind of dual purpose. And the test of temptation is he has to go to the holy grocery store and buy ingredients for the holy meal, which is quesadilla, and come back. But the problem is people who follow the quesadeity only eat the holy meal once a day because they believe that the quesadeity gives them all that they need to survive physically and spiritually. So Dante, who grew up in the church, has never eaten or seen any other type of food in his life. And he has to go to the holy grocery store. And, the first thing you see in the holy grocery store is the produce section. And the cheese and the dairy is all the way in the back. So you have to go through it and avoid like all these new things, all these, maybe a free sample is offered. So that's like the plot. And I won't say anything else about the plot of the story.
Okay.
For spoilers' sake. But some of the lines in the show are... I'm going back to your point. A little long-winded way to get about it.
It's okay.
Some of the lines in the show are... the first line in the show is, I am nothing. I am but grease on the universe griddle without you. I am waste to be discarded in the garbage disposal of fire. Like, that is the way the album starts, with Dante praying and saying it's entirely useless without his God, without the quesadeity. and some of the things I say, or I have the characters say in the show, are ridiculous. Like there's a question about how do you make the holy meal, and it's screamed, and it's over this really like Meshuggah inspired metal section, and I can't scream yet. I'm trying to learn, but I will not demonstrate. But and like it's like ridiculous things like what cheeses can you eat on what day of the week, because they can only have the cheeses of righteousness and the tortilla of forgiveness. Like that's it. There's no chicken, there's no sour cream, nothing else, just those two ingredients. Today is Monday, so today would be pepper jack is the cheese you can have in the holy meal. Tomorrow's mozzarella. Wednesday's Gouda, cheddar, and Colby Jack. Thursday, Sephardi and Swiss. Friday, provolone. Saturday, Monterey Jack and Gruyere. And then Sunday, you can have any cheese you want. And it's funny. Like you're looking at this, like, what the hell is this? But as people are listening to it, I want people to think, why is this funny? It's like you're looking at what these people legitimately believe from the outside. You're like, that's ridiculous. Why would you believe anything like that? But why is it funny? And then I want to flip the script and say, well, what do you believe that we would laugh at?
Yeah.
And
it's funny to me because I'm thinking of these, crackers that are the flesh of Christ and this blood that these guys drink. And I'm not a religious person like that. So to me, all of these little rituals, I get it immediately. What you're talking about is that it could be one random thing in anybody's ritual could be looked at from both ways. This is something you have to do, or that's a ridiculous thing. And that's how these religious wars start, right? Yeah.
And not even with religion, with like politics too. Like,
everything.
What do you like? I don't know. Politics is such a huge topic. Controversial topics. I don't know. Abortion. Do you believe people should have the right to abortion? It's like, well, have you questioned that before? And have you talked to people and seen, I don't want to say seen both sides, because that's both sides not necessarily the right side of an argument, because one side could be telling the truth and one side could just be blatantly lying. But it's like, well, do you, even if it's a good belief, have you questioned it? Yeah. And that's also not knocking on religion either, because if you question your religion and you find it to be true, then that reaffirms your belief. You have strengthened your belief in that religion because you've seen it to be true, because you've had personal experiences, you've seen evidence, and it builds on itself. If you question it, and if you question anything, and if it doesn't come true, then why do you believe it in anymore? Right. Why haven't you reassessed that part of your life? So that's something I try to do for myself, is think about, like, what do I believe in? What do I value? And see if I can question it. And see if I come out on the other side stronger or with a different or more nuanced opinion.
So would you say that's something you do every damn day then? Is that questioning?
Yeah, I would say I do. Recently I've been doing it for video games because I've been playing a lot of games, and I'm like, why is this game giving me this arbitrary limitation? I've just played through the game Control for PlayStation, and the beginning of the game was phenomenal. It was so cool. You can grab any part of the environment. You can grab it with your superpowers and throw it at someone. Like, wow. That's so cool, and the environment breaks depending on what you do with it. It's really awesome. But then you have the special gun in the game, but you can only they have 5 or 6 different weapons, something like that, 6 or 7, but you're only allowed to use 2 of them at once. Like, why? Why? That's such an arbitrary limitation for an otherwise pretty good game. It's like, why can't I just have a weapon wheel, like, I don't know, countless other games, and just choose what weapon I want to use and use that as I see fit, instead of only picking 2? Like, you're just limiting me for no good reason.
So in that process, as you've evolved through some of this game and you've been questioning these parameters, have you in a later stage said, oh, that's why they only limited me to 2, or that's why, has it ever come to you? Like kind of the flip side of your...
Yeah. For Control, no. I think in the instance of Control, I think the 2-weapon system is pretty arbitrary, because in the game's lore, it's a weapon that changes form. So it's really only 1 weapon, but you change its form to do things. So it's like, why can't it change into all the forms? And why do you only have to pick 2 of them? Like, that doesn't make sense in the lore of the game, for me anyway. Let's see. In another game. Hollow Knight's a good example. I'm a big fan of Hollow Knight. I played it on PC. And there's a charm system in the game, which is basically like your own perks. You get a little perk system, but you can like swap out which perks you want. And there's a limit to how many you can pick at once. And the better perks cost a little bit more, so you can have a few good perks, or you can have a lot of okay perks to kind of balance it out. And if you put on all the perks, yeah, you'd be overpowered. It'd be a cakewalk of a game. But then I found out, the limit for the number of charms you can put on, you can actually break that limit yourself. If you like try to put it on, it like kicks you off, and you put it on, it kicks you off again, and the screen starts to shake and turn purple. You're like, what? And you keep doing it, and eventually you break the limit of the charms you put on, and it says overcharmed, which is like, yeah, you can put on more charms, but you're going to take double damage for it, which is a big deal in Hollow Knight, because you can only take damage 9 times. Or sometimes 5 if they do double damage. And if you're doubling that already, then you really can't take damage. So it's like, oh, okay, so this limitation is more of a player choice of like what they actually want. And even if they want to go past it, there's consequences, but they're accepting those consequences. So it's your own fault if you die in the game. So that, I think, is a good example of a limitation in a game, at least. So, yeah.
So we daisy chain these shows together. And yesterday on the show, I had Jerry Swartz, who works with the United Way, the Lansing School District, all these different things. And his question to you is, and I'm going to paraphrase, and you listen to the show, thank you. He basically says, what occurs daily that you just don't want to face? So what's on your list every single day? Like taxes for somebody might be one of those things. And what do you do to get in do you have any tactic to make you tackle it so you don't just avoid it all day?
I am really bad at taking care of myself. I'm not very good at it. Like sometimes I'm like, do I have to brush my teeth today? I really don't want to. It's like, should I go exercise today? I really just don't want to. And I think part of the time, being in grad school and being in grad school and being very, very busy and dealing with a lot of other things, like I kind of like intentionally put my self-care to the side and said, I need to get through this. And oh boy, that was a bad choice I made. But what my roommate now, he has a saying that says, if it takes 5 minutes, just do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's a good point. Oh, brushing your teeth only takes 2 minutes. Okay, yeah, I'll just do it. That's fine. Putting my dishes in the dishwasher takes 5 minutes. I can do that. I don't have to let my dishes pile up anymore for weeks on end sometimes. Vacuuming takes a few minutes. So it's like, oh, wow, I can take care of things and I don't have to have this weight on myself anymore. That I'm like, oh, I should have taken care of myself today. And so that little bit of, if it takes 5 minutes, do it, really, really helps me. Just cross lots of little things off my list every day.
So do you find yourself breaking bigger projects into smaller chunks?
Hold on. I can't hear you. Give me a hot second.
Lost audio. What about now? Check, check. Check, check.
Okay. Let's see. Can I hear you now?
Check, check.
Oop, I can't hear you.
Hello.
Oh.
Make sure. You potentially have a mute on your screen by looking at the other, but you can't hear me, so that's not insightful.
I can't hear anything right now. Oh, man.
See if you can, if he picks up on my private. Look at your chat, Chris. Hey, look at the chat. Chris. Look at the chat. Look down. The chat. See? Let's do a C, H, A, what's T? I don't know T. Look at the chat. Hey, Chris. Let's go to this and take us out. I can't play that. Now there's no sound. Yeah. All right, we might have to end it here. We did put up the link on the to that video there on the chats here. When the Kickstarter comes out tomorrow, we will be sharing that as well. And outside of that, I think I'm probably going to just finish up the show. But check out the the Church of Quesadeity and the Kickstarter that's associated with it, the trailer that is on YouTube and all that. I don't think you can still hear me, Christopher.
Oh, I can hear you again.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. Sorry.
Sorry about that. I bumped into something and
it's all right. Been trying to get you to look at the private chat.
I'm so sorry.
But no problem. So question for tomorrow. I'm going to get into that real quick. I've got Karen Fraser from Front Door Floral. She's just opened up a shop. I think it's on Pennsylvania here. And what question would you like me to pass on to Karen?
What do you believe but don't question?
What do you believe but don't question?
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you that. What do you believe but don't question?
Education.
Oh, nice.
I think education works. I don't think there's anything wrong with having people be more informed so they can make their own choice.
But that doesn't necessarily apply into all the educational tactics and techniques and all of that, right? But just knowing more is more important.
Yeah, I think I think having enough to form an opinion on your own without someone else having to tell you an opinion is a really important thing. Because it's easy to say, oh, I don't know a lot about this. Let me see what other people are saying. And then if you just do that enough and listen to the same people, that just becomes your opinion. And you don't really have anything else to say. But you've never really thought about it yourself and what you think. So that's, education. Yeah, we need that. How we go about it, that's a different question. But we need education.
I like the answer, because I was thinking, well, math. I never question math, but I do. I question it constantly, but I don't question the fact that math exists and there's a way to do it, and some of it works and some of it's theory and some of it we're going to find to be wrong, but it's still math. So you help me answer that for myself.
Oh, anytime.
So happiness, sadness, joy, or hope. Which word or combination of words would you like to talk about?
Sadness. I want to talk about sadness. I think, at least in the classical music world, there's a lot of stories about composers being really depressed, and then when they're depressed, they put out their best work, which is bullshit.
I was hoping you were going to say that.
Oh my God, it's the biggest lie. Like the tragic artist, when I'm depressed, I can't get out of bed, let alone work on my craft. Like how can I output something when I feel like garbage? I can't. I really can't. And trying to capitalize on your own like feelings of sadness as an artist. I mean, yeah, that's an important thing to do, but it's really hard to do that when you're feeling that way. When I'm feeling that way, I want to eat ice cream all day and watch random YouTube videos. Like I don't want to write music.
Yeah.
I can't. I need other things to help me feel better so that I can look at music from in a better mental state. Like all throughout, or mostly throughout the pandemic, I couldn't write music for 8 months. I couldn't do it. I graduated from school, and the last year of school was pretty rough for me. And as soon as I graduated, like many major life changes happened all at once. And I couldn't write for 8 months. And I was okay with that, because how could I write when I'm feeling like that? Like if I wrote, I wouldn't write something good, and then I would feel bad about it because I didn't write something good, and then that would make me feel worse. And then if I tried to write again and I wouldn't like it, it would make me feel even worse, and it would just be this downward spiral of just making myself feel 10 times worse than I would already do, already be feeling. So don't work on art when you're sad, unless it's an outlet. If you do it purposely to make yourself feel better, then yes, do that. But for me, I can't do that. I do other things. I don't like this is my job. Like this is my career, is music, and I can't, like, my outlet is D&D. Like I love D&D. D&D is amazing. I love DMing, and I like playing, and like that's a creative output for me. I'll do that to make me feel better. I'm not going to work on music.
Yeah. I wonder if there were musicians in the past that obviously suffered from depression, but that doesn't mean they did their best work while they were depressed. But maybe it's very rare that somebody picks sadness in the show. And so I really appreciate you picking it, because it's through that sadness that we find richness in life, that we find the whole spectrum of emotions. If we were all Smurfs all the time, it would be Smurfing weird, right? So, we need these emotions, but I do like that you're bringing out, because people will not thrive. They'll what do I want to say? They'll use their sadness and their depression. Well, if I get happy now, I need to be this emo kid, because if I start getting happy and joyous, then all my work's going to suck. And that's probably not exactly true. You carry those memories of your suffering and your sadness with you, but get into a better state. I love that advice.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's different, and everyone's life events can, trigger different emotions and other feelings. But at least for me, like I want to keep work at work. Like music is my life, but it's not the only thing in my life. I have to have other things that have nothing to do with music, so that if I'm sad or if I'm feeling down or I'm in my head, like I'm not gonna work on music. Like I've been this past month, ever since I announced the Kickstarter, like my emotions have been, oh man, this is like the high point of my life. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put out this Kickstarter. It's gonna be awesome. And other days I'm like, oh God, I'm putting this out. Oh no. Oh, this is bad. This is real bad. I'm going to shut it down. I'm not going to do it. And like I've had someone like try to compliment me, but in a backhand way, and it just got into my head. I was like, and I was feeling like garbage the whole day. And I was like, what can I do to make myself feel better? Screw it. I'm going to go bowling. I haven't been bowling in like 3 years. I'm going to go bowling. I called up my girlfriend. I was like, hey, do you want to go bowling right now? I'm already on my way to your house. And she's like, yeah, sure. I was like, yeah, great. And it made me feel better.
Nice.
I did not go, I'm going to work on music. Like, that's not my outlet. That's if it is your outlet, then go ahead and do it. And even if it's music can also be very personal too. You can just write a song just for yourself. You don't have to share it with anybody. And if that's your outlet, great. Go ahead and do that. It's not mine. And it shouldn't necessarily be everybody's.
Yeah. Well, sorry for those technical difficulties in the middle, everyone. And Christopher, thank you for being on the show. I hope you. I'll find your Kickstarter and share it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And you can share it in the Fledge links, however you want. If you use Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all that, we'll definitely spread it around for you.
Great. Thank you so much.
And what would you, well, I know what you would like to take us out with, because we have it up. Yeah, let's play a little bit of this and I'll end the broadcast, but stick with me when I end. Okay, Chris?
Yep. Sounds good.
You ready?
Yep. I'll play it from here.
All right.
I can't hear that. Can you hear that?
No, I cannot. We might have lost sound. I've got
Here, let me try this again.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's screwed up when my audio stuff happened.
All right.
Okay, how about this?
Well, I have you.
We're excited to see it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.